We will now discuss a resolution recently passed by the Greenburgh Town Board. Resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Greenburgh affirming and formalizing, at the request of the town's Human Rights Liaison Committee, the town's policy on immigration enforcement. Whereas the Town of Greenburgh acknowledges and values the contributions immigrants have made and continue to make to our community's vibrant economic, cultural, political, religious, and social life. And whereas the Town of Greenburgh recognizes that most immigrants are law-abiding residents, good neighbors, and loving parents who wish to raise their families, work hard, better their families' circumstances, and contribute to their community without undue fear of harassment and persecution. And whereas the Town of Greenburgh recognizes that many immigrant families live in fear of detention and removal. And whereas the Town of Greenburgh acknowledges the legal guidance issued January 19, 2017 by the Office of the Attorney General of New York concerning local authority participation in immigration enforcement. And whereas the Town of Greenburgh recognizes that local law enforcement is best served when there is a trusting and cooperative relationship between local law enforcement and the communities it serves, so that both victims and witnesses of crime feel safe to come forward without fear of detention and deportation. And whereas the Chief of Police has assured the Town Board and the police and the public that the provisions enumerated below are currently followed by the Greenburgh Police Department. And whereas the town's Human Rights Liaison Committee has reached out to potentially affected groups, and after doing so, strongly advocates that the Town Board formally adopt and publish its immigration policies and practices, believing that formally doing so is in the best interest of potentially affected persons and groups. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Greenburgh hereby affirms and formalizes the town's policies on immigration enforcement, which consists of the following provisions. Number 1. The Greenburgh Police shall not stop, question, interrogate, investigate, or arrest an individual based solely on any of the following: A. Actual or suspected immigration or citizenship status, or B. A civil immigration warrant, administrative warrant, or an immigration detainer in the individual's name, including those identified in the National Crime Information Center database except as provided in paragraph 4. Number 2. The Greenburgh Police shall not inquire about the immigration status of an individual, including a crime victim, a witness, or a person who calls or approaches the police seeking assistance, unless necessary to investigate criminal activity by that individual. Number 3. The Greenburgh Police shall not perform the functions of a federal immigration officer or otherwise engage in the enforcement of federal immigration law, whether pursuant to Section 1357G of Title 8 of the United States Code, or under any other law, regulation, or policy. This includes not entering into 287G agreements with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Number 4. The Greenburgh Police may respond affirmatively to a civil immigration detainer from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, or Customs and Border Protection, CBP, to detain or transfer an individual for immigration enforcement or investigation purposes for up to 48 hours, only if the request is accompanied by a judicial warrant, except that local police may detain a person for up to 48 hours on a civil immigration detainer in the absence of a judicial warrant if A. There is probable cause to believe that the individual has illegally re-entered the country after a previous removal or return as defined by 8 U.S.C. Section 1326, and the individual has been convicted at any time of 1. A specifically enumerated set of serious crimes under the New York Penal Law, example, Class A felony, attempt of a Class A felony, Class B felony, etc. Or 2. A federal crime or crime under the law of another state that would constitute a predicate felony conviction as defined under the New York Penal Law for any of the preceding felonies. Or B, there is probable cause to believe that the individual has or is engaged in terrorist activity. Or C, the individual has 2 or more criminal convictions. Paragraph number 5. The Greenburgh Police shall limit the information collected from individuals concerning immigration or citizenship status to that required by law, and shall prohibit the use or disclosure of such information in any manner that violates federal, state, or local law. Paragraph 6. The Greenburgh Police shall not provide ICE or CBP with access to an individual in their custody or the use of agency facilities to question or interview such individual if ICE or CBP's sole purpose is enforcement of federal immigration law. Number 7. The Greenburgh Police and Greenburgh Town Court shall not delay bail and or release from custody upon posting of bail solely because an individual's immigration or citizenship status, or B, a civil immigration warrant, or C, an ICE or CBP request for the purposes of immigration enforcement, for notification about, transfer of, detention of, or interview or interrogation of that individual, absent a judicial warrant. Number 8. Upon receipt of an ICE or CBP detainer, transfer, notification, interview, or interrogation request, the Greenburgh Police shall provide a copy of that request to the individual named therein and inform the individual whether Greenburgh Police will comply with the request before communicating its response to the requesting agency. Number 9. Individuals in the custody of the Greenburgh Police shall be subject to the same booking, processing, release, and transfer procedures, policies, and practices of that agency, regardless of actual or suspected citizenship or immigration status. 10. No department of the town of Greenburgh may use department monies, facilities, property, equipment, or personnel to investigate, enforce, or assist in the investigation or enforcement of any federal program requiring registration of individuals on the basis of race, gender, gender expression, sexual orientation, religion, ethnicity, or national origin. Paragraph number 11. No town of Greenburgh personnel shall inquire about or request proof of immigration status or citizenship when providing services or benefits, except where the receipt of such services or benefits are contingent upon one's immigration or citizenship status, or where inquiries are otherwise lawfully required by federal, state, or local laws. 12. The Greenburgh Police shall develop a formal language assistance policy for individuals with limited English proficiency and provide interpretation or translation services consistent with that policy. 13. The Greenburgh Police shall record, solely to create the reports described in paragraph 14 below, the following for each immigration detainer, notification, transfer, interview, or interrogation request received from ICE or CBP. A. The subject individual's race, gender, and place of birth. B. Date and time that the subject individual was taken into Greenburgh Police custody, the location where the individual was held, and the arrest charges. C. Date and time of the Greenburgh Police receipt of the request. D. The requesting agency. E. Immigration or criminal history indicated on the request form, if any. F. Whether the request was accompanied by any documentation regarding immigration status or proceedings, example, a judicial warrant. G. Whether a copy of the request was provided to the individual, and if yes, the date and time of notification. H. Whether the individual consented to the request. I. Whether the individual requested to confer with counsel regarding the request. J. The Greenburgh Police's response to the request, including a decision not to fulfill the request. K. If applicable, the date and time that ICE or CBP took custody of, or was otherwise given access to, the individual, and L. the date and time of the individual's release from Greenburgh Police custody. Paragraph number 14. The Greenburgh Police shall provide annual reports to the Town of Greenburgh Town Board, the Town of Greenburgh Human Rights Advisory Committee, and the Town of Greenburgh Police Community Advisory Commission regarding the information collected in paragraph 13 above, in an aggregated form that is stripped of all personal identifiers, in order that the Greenburgh Police and the community may monitor the Greenburgh Police's compliance with all applicable law.